Yeah, I feel like a lot of what you're talking about is regression, where it's like people sort of know like what's to a certain extent, people sort of know what's right and wrong in these sorts of ways. You know how far we've come as a society and otherwise, and it's just they sort of want to repeal things. They want to repeal and roll back. Um, Obviously, rights in terms of the policy and legislative ways, such as peeling back on abortion and stuff. Because and this is the thing that I didn't know at initially very first is that back when the abortion controversy first took off for kind of the second time in our generation, which, I mean, well, for the first time in our generation, at least when I was politically aware of it, the abortion rights issue became a huge thing in 2014. And I guess obviously in parts of 2013. Conveniently kind of, I'm pretty sure, coinciding with like Gamergate and stuff. But the weird thing is that the thing about it is that it was not necessarily championing or pioneering anything. It was actually a matter of preserving, but a progressive thing to preserve. It wasn't that abortion was illegal and progressives and leftists wanted to make it legal. It was that it was legal, but conservatives and so on wanted to make it illegal. And so it was very interesting that sort of immediately with this one type of scandal in political rights and the sort of stokings of third and fourth wave feminism is that it was kind of a preservation battle from the get-go, and it was fighting rollbacks and regression. Very very weird.
Yeah, it's that's why I think it's so important to look at the statecraft of ancient history to the Middle Ages to the medieval ages to even as quote unquote late as like the 1900s, the early 1900s. It's so important to look at the policies of that time. Like there's a policy in Virginia that was made in like the 1800s about like women walking on the sidewalk after dark. We're not allowed to. It's weird, but it's a policy we still have. Like there's a bunch of weird Virginia laws that we have not repealed, and it's funny. It's like what is this? This does not apply to modern day, sir.
Like ordinances.
Ordinance, like so it's so important, I think, to look at the statecraft and look at the political climate of of 1930 and above, because you find out that while we have progressed a lot in statecraft and a lot in policies and whatever, we have remained the same in a lot of others.
Sure.
And in that way we have progressed, but we have not really progressed. We are not this liberal democratic idealism that a lot of people think we have.
Yeah, I mean, people exist in paradigms of thought, right? Like, oftentimes, people exist in paradigms, which basically means that they exist within a subset of possible ideas to have. I mean, that's sort of the whole point of the iceberg analogy. The, known knowns, known unknowns, unknown unknowns. And the whole thing about the unknown unknowns is unknown unknowns are unknown unknowns because they don't even come into the awareness of, like, oh, well, what does even this mean in the context of me? Like, why would I need to know or not know this? Like, for instance, like, as we live in a world where we talk about conflicts between countries or, controversial or non-controversial authors, no one's really going to think about, the Smorgalorgs in the Andromeda Galaxy, right? And so it's like things exist within a paradigm, and large or small. The reality is there are still things that sort of come into or never come into the discourse of it all. And what people will always have to check themselves on is what their blind spots are, when it comes to talking about, obviously, social issues, because I'm full of them. Everyone's full of them. So,
Um, but yeah, it's interesting. That's why I love cross referencing, I guess is what you would say. Which is why I'm always like, read ancient history.
yeah.
You'll be very surprised that it has not changed very much. With your statecraft studies.
No, I love reading about ancient history. In fact, it's so interesting because one of the things about learning about history, and of course, obviously, even in cases of sociology, is a lot of the ideas that we take for granted, that we think are common sense, are ideas that were originally, contrived of some time ago and then just got stuck in, the Western curriculum of things. Because, for instance, there's a certain way of simplifying what's often called Western civilization and the evolution of it, where people say, oh, back when we were Mesopotamia, and then, the Mesopotamian Empire kind of led into, like, the sort of Greeks, and the Greeks led into the Romans, and the Romans fell and gave way to the Germanic tribes, and they became, the Franks and the Italians and the English, the Anglics and the Danes. And then, those people, of course, had their fun in the sun until, they sort of discovered the Americas and all this stuff, and now we're the American Empire in the 21st century. Well, that is a way of organizing history called Translatio Imperii, where it is about the imperial empires throughout history translating into each other into modern time. And one of the things, for instance, about frameworks, there's this thing that they tell you in school, which is that the teacher's job is not supposed to tell you what to think, but how to think. And while that is a noble endeavor, and there's a lot of good that is done with that, how to think is also just basically a mega what to think. Because you still exist in certain frameworks of mega concepts and framework ideas that contextualize and organize your thoughts. And those are still thus potential forms of propaganda and concepts of understanding history. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool thing to sorry, I just found a thing for dinosaurs.
A thing for dinosaurs.
Where it's a dinosaurs periodic table, and with the periodic table it tells you about carnivorous dinosaurs, herbivores and stuff. It's so freaking cool. So like let me see if I can get a better picture. So PT, the periodic table PT is a pterodactyl because it's a dinosaur. So it's like super cool. So it has like the dinosaur periodic table has carnivorous dinosaurs, herbivores, omnivores, flying reptiles, and marine reptiles. That's so cool. Sorry, I know we're talking about statecraft, but I like really am looking for dinosaurs, and I like dinosaurs. And
well,
if you know...
I'm fighting a skeleton now.
Oh, wait until you fight the dinosaur.
Dude, wait until the dinosaur fights me. You know what I'm saying?
It's not even in these mines. You have a whole nother section of mines you gotta unlock.
Yeah, but I need your help for that, because don't I have to do something like social in the game?
Yeah, you gotta do social. You gotta open your thingy.
That's a little gross. I think I'm good.
But if you know anything about me, you know how much I love dinosaurs. It is a constant
I love dinosaurs. I love learning. I was into epoch history, which I think is called natural history.
I want to get you this shirt at one point. It's a dinosaur shirt.
I was into era history for a while, and I kind of still am. I just need to figure out how to organize it with what I'm currently learning about.
Well, there's a dinosaur glasses holder.
That is so cute. Because I
And
was
it,
into era history. Like I was into learning about like the Ordovician and the. So it's actually kind of interesting. I know there's a movie called The Jurassic, but there's a movie called Jurassic Park, right? And like, sure, I'm sure some dinosaurs lived in that time, but apparently
dinosaur alphabet blanket I want to get you for Christmas.
that's so cute. But yeah, anyway, fun fact: a lot of times people think dinosaurs existed in the Jurassic, but actually, when the asteroid hit, it was called the Cretaceous period.
Yeah, Cretaceous.
Crazy.
Crazy. I keep telling you this.
I mean, dinosaurs just also lived in a lot of different eras too. Like, I think people even say too that like a lot of the dinosaurs in Jurassic apparently like didn't like actually coexist alongside each other.
Yeah, because it's a span of like 1,000 friggin' years and such,
Or more.
or more. So, but they always